Hey everyone, Yudi here for Mossy Earth. Today I will be bringing you some update from our coral restoration project, and yeah, I gotta say it's been very exciting journey. We're reaching yet another milestone on our reef restoration efforts, because now it's been a year after we start the whole project. So in this video I'll be updating you on what it's been changed after 1 year, the fish populations, the natural settlement of coral colonies, and also the experimental design that we do at our project site. So if you recall, at our last update, we have this problem with the algal bloom at our first restoration site, and we worried that it will be disrupt the coral growth, and at some point they will be overgrown the coral fragments. Because at that time, after that last update, we took a week holiday and we was a bit worried. And when we come back, actually, we found that the algae blooms is already disappear. They're already gone. Because that's also kind of like the changing seasons from a rainy to dry season. So I think that's gotta be have anything to do with it. At least that was the theory so far. The seasons is also takes very important parts on the reef ecosystems, because they affecting on the nutrients in the water, like the nutrient compositions and the availability, and also water clarity, even also the temperature change, because now the temperatures was a bit cooler now, a little bit, because of the upwelling currents that happen almost at this period of time in Nusa Penida. So this upwelling current is basically bringing up cold water from the depth, and then with it a lot of rich nutrients in the water that also will be part of the first base of reef food chain, basically. As we continue our work, our attentions now is fully on rubble area 3, where we almost finishing the restorations in this area, and we also do some experiments in our approach in this area. So one of the major change we do is we introduce the dome structures in the area. So we put one dome structures around with 6 of the hexagonal structures in one cluster with the same genus of corals, and this will minimize the competitions between different type of corals, and also giving them a bigger colony when they already grow in the future, like for the long run. And the other biggest challenge in securing coral fragments to the structures is to find the materials where it's efficient or effective and also eco-friendly. With this leads us to our phase 2 of our attachment trial, where before we compare the zip ties with the hemp rope and the cotton twine to see how they compare to the zip ties. So we know that the results is very significantly different on the survival rate. So the zip ties still kind of like 98% of the coral fragments survive, while the hemp rope and the cotton twine, it's less than 20%. So it's very striking numbers. And now on the phase 2, we want to try to find different materials. So we're going to compare the iron and also the aluminum wire to attach coral fragments. So before we do the experiments, we are going to start a pilot trial, which we're going to compare the iron and the aluminum on the very small scale of trial, just to see and have the feel underwater how to work with this material, and is there any side effects on using this material on coral fragments. So this is the wire that we are going to use, and this is the type of wire that people use to shape a bonsai tree, so it's a bit soft. So on each of these wire we want to have about 40 centimeters. That way it will be easier to carry. From the 40 centimeters wire, we fold it into 2, and we cut this. This is going to be in the water. And the first attachment that we use is we gonna make a little bit of a loop on the top like this, and then the idea is to put one coral fragment together like this. I call this one the candy loop because it looks like a candy. The aluminum wire is very soft and easy to bend, so it's one of the advantage. Oh, that's actually very promising. It's like wobble if I put it too hard, but if it's only by the current, I think it should be fine. Look, it's not really moving. This other loop, it's helped with the strengthened the other end of the wire, but we'll also want to try without this extra loop. My guess is it's not going to be better because it will lose tension, but we can try. My guess is it would be depend on how the corals fragments, because the living coral fragments, not going to be as smooth as this. I have a feeling that this might lose with the actual living coral. We also have a different material to test, which is the iron wire. This one is also 2 millimeters thick, but the iron wire is not as flexible as the aluminum wire. I can see that it's stronger material than the aluminum wire, but I don't think that much of pressure would be good for coral fragments. Both of these methods definitely more time consuming, but this iron especially, it would be more time consuming than the aluminum one for sure. So we managed to do 4 structures with aluminum and the iron wire, and to do it underwater actually it's very different than what we practice on land because of the more rigid body of the corals and the living tissues. Also only certain types of corals that is able to work with these materials, like the bigger or thicker acropora branching, it's more stronger. So when we apply a little bit of pressure with the wire, when we twist and tighten the wire, it can actually hold. And for the more fragile type of branching corals, we don't actually even try because we know that's gonna break the corals right away. So after a month since we start the pilot trial, we now have a little bit of a glimpse of the results and give us some insights what it's gonna be like if we do this in the long run. So the aluminum have a better survival rate than the iron, and the coral fragments seems to grow over the aluminum wire. So it's a good sign, like at the very early stage of this pilot. The iron, however, when we attach it, they don't show sign growth on the attachment point because of the rust, and also the tissue doesn't seem to recover from the rust itself. So some porosities have self-attached to the structures. It's only because the iron wire hold them in place, and then after sometimes they grow and self-attach to the structures. But I don't think that's the kind of result that we want with the attachments actually, because the rust keeps happening, and I think it's also damaging the coral tissues. So based on our pilot experiment that we did, we started last month, we today redesigned our wire experiment. So we only use the aluminum wire, but now we are cutting it into these shapes, so to make it quicker to attach underwater. So the thing that we are going to test is what type of corals would be ideal to use this method, and also the time difference, like the time consumed of attaching this compared to the zip ties. So time-wise, the zip ties is around 8 minutes to complete one structure, and for the wire is about 18 minutes. In average, is about double the time with the wire compared to the zip ties. One of the most exciting news came from one of our oldest restoration structures at our project site, where bigger fish population have settled in, and a lot of juveniles has lived there in what once coral fragments that have grown into bigger corals. They can be home for this many fish. Even sometimes slightly bigger fish, they come to this reef to get their body clean. You see, this is one of the reef fish behavior. When they swim past to a smaller colony of fish, they will kind of like hover on top, and then the cleaner fish will start to like cleaning their gills at some points. Like the Morris idol that I took the video of on this site. If you look closely, there is a very tiny blue fish, like a blue striped fish, that's trying to go into the gills of the other fish. That's also basically what the mola mola or sunfish usually do when they swim closer to the reef ecosystems. So the bannerfish, they start to clean from their body, like they're eating the parasite from their body. Thus the name, the cleaning station. Very cool behavior. We also found 7 new settlements of coral colonies that is naturally attached to the structures. So our structures have covered with coralline algae. This is the type of algae that produce calcium carbonate, similar to corals, and they layer up the structures, and they basically making a very suitable surface for the coral larvae to self-attach. So this is actually something that we've been looking for some times now, and we're very excited when we saw them, because at these sites we don't really often visit, because this is one of the trial sites that we do before we start the whole project, and it's located a bit further actually in rubble area 5. Now we are at 3. So when we saw this new coral colony, based on the size, it's about 6 months old, and it's belong to the Poecilopora species. Yeah, so it's very cool discovery. So I believe that's everything on my note for now. So thank you for watching this update, and if you feel like supporting us, please consider becoming a member at our website mossy.earth. And for all of the Mossy Earth members, thank you for being part of this mission, and only with your help we can build this amazing project. Until next time, guys. Cheers.